My name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and we are presented by the Hula Bowl. This interview is sponsored by Publix. Publix supermarkets are the premier quality food retailer. Stop by today to pick up top of the line produce, baked goods, and groceries. Today I have with me Blaze Alldredge. He's a linebacker out of Missouri. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, nice to sit down and talk with you. We invited you to this season's Hula Bowl. You know, coming back to your hometown there in like the Orlando area. So, giving you the opportunity to do that. It's going to be a whole lot of fun to have you down there. Why don't you go ahead, buddy? Why don't you give us like a brief background, if you don't mind, of you and your story? Go ahead and hit me with that.
Yeah, so you already touched on it. I'm from the Kissimmee area. I spent my last 2 years of high school playing for a school called Celebration, which is really close to Disney World and about 45 minutes away from UCF. From there, I didn't like the offers I had out of high school. I felt like I was a little under-recruited, so I decided to go to junior college out on the West Coast, and I played 1 year of junior college. I ended up picking an offer up from Rice. Coach Bloomgren, who I talked a little bit to while he was at Stanford, got the head coaching job and decided to give me a chance out there. So I started my sophomore year at Rice. I took over the starting role about halfway through the season. Got to play 3 years there. Obviously, my senior year got cut short with COVID. And I just wanted another opportunity to play at a higher level and gain more exposure. So I decided after graduating to graduate transfer, and that's how I ended up here at Missouri with Coach Drinkwitz. Started from the beginning of the year. We had some defensive struggles and we switched some things around, but I started 9 games, played in all of them. Had like a little rotation going in the middle of the season, but ended up making a bowl game. I'm excited to get my rematch against Army on the 22nd. But yeah, it's been a great journey. And
yeah, well, obviously, like you said, you're going to get your rematch against Army. Army's been a tough opponent over the years. And really giving guys like you a whole lot of work, with their triple option, everything else they got going on there. I know right now you're sitting at just under 300, tackles on your season, or I'm sorry, on your career. And I'm pretty sure by the end of that game, you're probably going to be going over 300 easy, against those guys, probably picking up at least 15 tackles or more, just kind of, how that game is going to unfold. So, let's talk about you as a prospect, as a linebacker. How would you describe yourself as a prospect for people that don't already know you?
Yeah, well, I think my coach, Coach DJ here, really summed up my strengths well. He likes to call me a run stopper when I like to flirt around with him a little bit and tell him I'm an athlete. But when you look at what I do, you mentioned it closely, close to 300 career tackles. Was second in the nation my junior year in TFLs, averaging over a TFL per game here. So I think that what I have is just great instincts in the run game. Do a great job making plays on the other side of the line of scrimmage. And I think those tackling numbers show that I do a good job of getting around the ball.
Right. Are you out there on special teams as well, making plays out there too?
Yeah, so I've started for every special team except for field goal over the course of my career. Obviously, when you're a little younger and and not quite like a big deal player, that they have you play it more. But as I've come up more, I've been a solid right guard on the punt team. It's kind of like where the linebacker guys go. Nick Bolton played right guard here before I showed up, and I've stepped into that spot and done a good job, in protection, made a few punt tackles, but yeah, I love playing special teams. It was one of the I've developed a close relationship with Coach Link here. He spent some time in CUSA too, so we bond over that. But yeah, special teams is something I look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I found it kind of interesting there that you said that you're, kind of taking over uh, for a pretty good, player there in Bolton, at Missouri. So, I mean, uh, how are you taking to that, like, pressure, so to speak, of taking over for a guy that was very successful in the SEC?
Yeah, he's a great player. Wasn't just successful in the SEC. He's tearing up the league right now. Had
Of course, of
14
course.
tackles last night. But really, with Coach Wilkes coming in and putting in a new system, yeah, in a sense, I'm taking over for Nick Bolton. But it's a different defense. I've got a lot of great talent around me. I didn't need to come in and be this insane guy that Nick was. I just needed to come in and be a leader and do my job. And those are things that come natural to me, and just put in the work every day, and kind of everything will take care of itself.
Yeah, it's kind of also you kind of leading in like right into my next question there. And obviously, I know you have been a team captain at one point or another, like probably there at Rice. So I don't know your situation there at Missouri, but I want you to just kind of address like do you feel like you're a team leader? Are you comfortable taking that leadership role? And if so, what kind of leader are you?
Yeah, so I was a team captain at Rice. The way we do captains here, we have like three main ones, and then we did like weekly ones too. So I have been a captain at times here, but I do feel like I've had a leadership role, and that just comes from the experience I have being here to help out the other linebackers. I feel good. I think that I'm a real good leader in the weight room, and over the summer set a good precedent of just showing up and going to work today. Coach DJ has paid me some compliments, just calling me a professional. So I like to think that I really do a good job of just leading by example, and showing some guys, especially the younger linebackers, how to prepare every day, and how to do the right things, stay out of trouble, and stay healthy, and how to just get better and better. And I think I've really accumulated that over the course of my career of just playing at every level. You take a little piece from everything, and it helps you develop those habits.
Definitely, and I mean, obviously, a guy who has developed a lot of those great habits over his career, and I just kind of want to chat with you about those like regular habits that you have like throughout the week. I mean, obviously, you got to get into the film room, do your work there, get into the weight room, do your work there as well. Let's talk about the weight room real quick. What's your attitude towards the weight room? How has that developed over the years? And maybe even your favorite lift that you want to share.
Yeah. Well, I always felt like I was a huge weight room guy. Coming out of high school, I graduated at like 185, which is pretty unacceptable for a Division I linebacker. And I've made my way up to where I was 233 before the season, and that's just living in the Iron Church. And we've got great guys here, and Coach Woodfin and Coach Russell that really helped me take my strength and conditioning to the next level. And I've easily become like one of the 1,000-pound club guys, which is what you kind of strain to be for on a meathead, which is where you got like over 1,000 pounds in your three core lifts of bench, clean, and squat. So basically you got to squat over 400, clean over 300, bench over 300, which I'm pretty well over those. But what I think that I really developed over the course of the years of my career is that the weight room is sexy, but you really got to put the same time and commitment into like the training room. And by training room, I just mean doing like mobility stuff and all that to balance it, because I've seen a lot of freaks in the weight room. A lot of physically impressive guys. You look at them and you're like, man, that guy's a monster. But a lot of the time, those are the guys with soft tissue injuries that are never seeing the field. So That's really where my development as a player over the years was. It was like I was developing the muscle, putting on the weight, and now that I'm really a grizzled vet, I'm like, okay, now I got to do it in the training room too.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, not all meatheads are able to, do it effectively and, just kind of not get themselves injured and obviously, perform on the field as well. So, um, also, I mean, again, like you got to get into the film room, you got to study your opponents. So, tell me just briefly, like how that's developed for you over the years, and maybe what you're looking at when you're, studying in the film room.
Yeah, so I think in the film room, everybody kind of has like typically the same progressions where you start and you go first down, second down, and then you work your way into situational football of third downs and red zone. So for me, I'll kind of follow the progression of what we're doing throughout the week in practice. So if I know that we're doing first and second down, I'll watch the run cut ups. An interesting thing that we do here with Coach DJ is he actually has us as players, the guys that play, we'll do run presentations to the rest of the position group. So I'll have to make like a little presentation, where I'm talking about counter or, talking about zone read or split zone, whatever is one of their biggest runs for the week. So oftentimes this year I was making presentations at the beginning of the week. And then as I'm working through it, one of the things that I do like to do is I like to watch full games too towards the end of the week to get a sense of their flow, what they go to when things aren't working and things of that nature. One of the biggest things that I think that I've developed after as a player, like later in my career when it comes to watching film, is really just watching it with teammates and talking about how the defense as a whole is going to play to those plays. Because I think a lot of guys, watch film and, they watch like, okay, what does the running back do and things of that nature. But where you can really gain the advantage, I think, in the weight room, the film room, is when you come together as a team and you really start to talk about, okay, like you see the puller, all right, in this call, when we're in our quarters, look, I'm gonna be fitting it like this. But if we're in a fire zone, we're gonna have to fit it like this and talk about things of that nature. So it's always good to get extra film, but what I've realized later in my career is that it really helps if you can get it with the other guys too.
Interesting. I'm sitting here thinking, like, as you're talking, as you gave that example of you as the presenter, do you ever feel like maybe your future is in coaching? Has that even crossed your mind? I mean, uh, what's going to be like that one profession, after football is all done for you?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I think if you take a look at my master's program, which is the Masters of Positive Coaching, it gives a little sneak peek that I have considered a coaching profession. But if you go back to my time at Rice, I did my undergrads in political science, preparing to go to law school. So right now, I'm kind of on the edge about if the pro career doesn't work out, obviously, about if I want to go back to school and go to law school and kind of follow my initial plan with the undergrads. But
Sure.
as I've come and I've made it this far due to football in my life, I've just really felt the need to give back to the game, and be a good coach, because I've had so many good coaches over the course of my life that have had a huge impact. So that's why I decided to do the Masters of Positive Coaching, because it's definitely a door I want to keep open.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, a whole lot of avenues that you can go once your, career is done. You were talking a little bit about some coaches that have, really made a positive influence on you. What's like the best lesson that you've ever learned from one of your coaches?
Probably the lesson that sticks most with me, is going back to my time at Rice. And it was early in my career, it wasn't going as I expected, because as a junior college guy and grad transfer guys, when you get recruited, you kind of get recruited to play. So when I initially wasn't starting at Rice, I was struggling a little bit. And my position coach, Coach Scott Bessel, he's at Western Kentucky now. He gave us a speech about inspiration versus motivation. And he was just talking about how he doesn't really believe in showing like the cheap YouTube motivational videos that some coaches show. And he says his job as a coach is really to tap into our inspiration and help us achieve our individual goals. And one of the things he would say is to like just be us, you know. And he's like, all of you in here were probably the best player at your high school, you know. And he talks about how we just have to keep that same mentality and just be us, but at the college level. And I think that really helped me find my confidence as a player. You know, I think him and his belief and working with that in me played a huge part in my development. And then ultimately the junior breakout year, and now what's allowed me to play in the SEC and have success was just kind of that lesson of finding inspiration instead of motivation.
Sure. I mean, and obviously, like you said, I mean, you've had a whole lot of success. I mean, again, just going back a couple years, going over that 100 tackle mark. I mean, I know you've had a lot of good ones out there. Is there maybe one play or game that sticks out in your memory?
Oh, you know, that there's a couple. My favorite here during my time at Mizzou was definitely the Florida game. You know, coming back, kind of regaining like our respect as a defense, you know, because we struggled early in the year, particularly against the run. And then what's helped us in this later stretch is that as a defense, we've completely flipped the script. And they're UF being like from my home state, you know, as a school that doesn't recruit you, that always adds like extra flavor to the fire. And we had just turned our offense had turned the ball over. They got really good field position. And we are kind of in the mindset like, okay, we need a turnover. We need to hold them to a field goal. And they had a third and short. We were thinking potential QB sneak situation because it was 1 yard. And they gave me speed option. And I had to execute what's known as a feather technique, where you play the quarterback and then you play to the pitch. And I was able to execute it and force the pitch, get the running back out, who's, by the way, great running back. They had great players. Get him out short of the first down marker, and we forced the kick. And then that ended up being the difference maker to send us into overtime, which we then won the game. And it was senior night, you know, and that was what made us bowl eligible. So it was really just like kind of a poetic climax to a lot of things that have happened along my journey.
Awesome. And then, of course, you're going to get the opportunity to once again come home, man. And that's just going to be such an exciting moment to come back again, to your hometown, get a chance to play in the Hula Bowl with a lot of great talent there. What's it going to be like once again, playing in front of all those guys?
Yeah, you know, it adds a special feeling to it. And, you know, being home at UCF is going to allow for a lot of people that haven't gotten to see me play yet. They're going to get to come see me play. So, you know, I got to make sure I put on a show for those guys, because people don't really believe it till they see it in person, you know. So, got to make sure I'm showing out for that. And I just think kind of like a sense of comfortability will really be there too to help me excel. Like, okay, you know, I've been here. This is back home, like home turf, home field advantage. You know, people always talk about it. That's a real thing, and I'm excited to have it.
Awesome. So definitely going to have that home field advantage. Hey, Blaze, I want to get to know you, just a little bit more, maybe even off the field. So, tell me something about you that maybe not everybody knows, something interesting, unique, hobbies or what have you. Give me something if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a lot of things. First thing that I really got to start with is, you know, I'm a huge family guy, and I get a lot of things for my unique name. But I have 5 brothers, and we all have unique names. So, you know, my oldest brother, Zen, Kanan, Jed, and Kyron, a bunch of unique names there. As far as hobbies go, obviously I'm an all ball guy, but I do enjoy trying a bunch of new things. One of the things that I have done that usually gets people is I've been skydiving. And that made my college coach at the time pretty nervous. He said,
Wow.
"Next time you're jumping out of a working airplane, don't let me know." And my father works overseas, so I've gotten to have a lot of unique opportunities across the world too. I've been to Thailand, China. I've rode elephants. So I think one thing about me is you kind of just look at my football journey and my life journey, and it's like I get a little bit of a taste of everything.
Awesome. Well, I mean, definitely a very well-rounded guy, and a guy who's crazy enough to jump out of an airplane. I mean, and maybe a bit of that personality also. You'll be able to see that on the field. I mean, whether they call you a crazy guy on the field or not, I don't know. But I mean, when you're going maybe barreling down on special teams, trying to lay into some guy, maybe calls a fumble, or when you're out there on defense, and like you said, I mean, getting that pitch man in the backfield and stopping them, and creating a turnover or something. I mean, obviously, some great moments. Really expecting you to once again come to the Hula Bowl, do your best, and I wish you best of luck, bud. I mean, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys so much for giving me this opportunity.
Sure. I do want to give you one last moment though. Scouts, you may or may not have talked to some of them. They're obviously watching you. They're going to come watch you at our game. I just want you to address them really quick. Why should they take a chance on you, draft you, sign you? What kind of a person and player would you be for their franchise?
Yeah, well, I think that when you look over the course of my career, not only have I overcame every challenge that has come up to me, from no offers out of high school, group of five offers out of junior college, being all conference, competing nationally in that, and then coming to the SEC and, competing there. I just keep getting better. And I think that's because I'm a hard worker. I never give up. I'm very coachable. And I think that it just goes to show that I'll always find a way to compete. I'm very competitive. And on top of that, I just hate losing. So I'm going to find a way to win at whatever level I'm at.
Gotcha. Well, once again, Blaze, do wish you best of luck. This interview was sponsored by Publix. You can see Blaze Alldredge at the Hula Bowl on January 15th and purchase those tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. A big mahalo for watching, and have a blessed day.